The problem with you, just like everyone else, is that you don't hear my story. You don't hear all of the things that I've had to go through and why I've been prevented from turning it in. And then you do literally the things that I'm trying to explain to you are wrong. They hurt us. So I'm going to start with my story. I grew up in the system being victimized and drugged because my parents couldn't stay off of drugs. At 18, I was dropped off with absolutely nothing, not so much as a driver's license or an ID or nothing. And when you start off like that with absolutely nothing, you have to depend on others because everything takes an ID. Everything requires an address. And when you want to pick out little bits and pieces of things that don't require those things, you're just being an asshole. Because everything important requires those things. Anyway, I ended up homeless because I didn't have any friends or family who gave a shit. All my mom ever did was rip me off. All my dad ever did was rip me off. All my brother ever did was rip me off. And these are the friends and family that I'm told to go to. Because if you don't have friends or family when you're a disabled homeless male, you're going to be victimized. And I've seen this for years. When you tell me your stories and you're using them as an excuse not to try to deter me from turning in my predators, and that is how you utilize that information. You tell me about how I should let it go because you've been through it. No, you haven't been through this. You've been through your life, your trials, your tribulations. Not mine. So when you're trying to tell me that you understand, you're showing that you don't understand. You don't understand that every time that you interrupt me, it makes it that much more difficult to trust you. You don't understand that every time that you interrupt me, you're showing me that my experience doesn't matter. What matters is your opinion. When you want to push housing like a crackhead, like so many other people wanted to do, keep in mind, when I explain that I got housing, there's a reason I'm explaining it. And for you to interrupt me to make it about housing again, for the 30th, 40th, 50th time? When you ask questions, you're asking the questions that you want to know about. You're not asking about my experiences. You're asking me about little bits and pieces that could be anywhere along a 7-year timeline. When you tell me the things that the police will say, you're already assuming. And yeah, you're telling me the things that they're probably going to say if I have to go in alone or if I go in with somebody who doesn't know shit about what's going on. What I need somebody to speak up about the evidence that I actually have. But when you're busy arguing, you never see any of it. You never look at any of it. When you ask me what help I need and I start to explain it, you automatically start telling me to do other things or to do things by myself. The problem isn't me, it's all of you. You don't care what the law is, neither do the police. The police don't care because you don't care. Now, for years and years, I took a lot of abuse from a lot of people, and I was told all those years, oh, well, just ignore it, just ignore it. Ignoring it never stopped it. Moving doesn't stop it either. I'm a disabled person who is easy to victimize, no matter where the fuck I go. But every time I have to start over with somebody new, I can't get them to shut up and stop derailing the train. So let's get to it. I lived homeless in Boulder for a lot of years because my friends in Chapel, Nebraska were all strung out on fucking drugs. My dad wasn't a part of my life. My mom wasn't a part of my life. They were only interested in their drugs and their fucking power and control. The only people I really had to hang out with in Chapel, Nebraska that accepted me at all, because everybody hates weirdos. Everybody hates people who are strange and different. Everybody blows us off, yourself included, Chris. You hear only what you want to hear. And then you regurgitate back to me something completely different than what I'm telling you, just like everyone else. And you want to push something like crack instead of listening to me. You want to push me to go to your friend, to go to Eugene, to go to somewhere else. Every time that I've had to move, that prevents me from being able to turn in my predators, because the excuses that I get for these predators and these government agencies that I have to go to alone every single time, the ones who you're not going to listen to me speak about, you're not going to look at any of the evidence, you're not going to watch the videos or listen to them, you're going to tell me your opinion based on ignorance every fucking time. And you're going to push me and bully me just like everyone else to do what you want. And that is what you're doing. When you are interrupting my story every single time to push housing, I'm trying to turn in abuse so that my predators are stopped, so that they don't get to do it again and again and again. But you're helping them to do it again and again by not helping the way I need. You don't know what help I need because you're a fucking crackhead. When it comes to stopping abuse, let's say your daughter was raped today, and she told you today that she was raped today. But you haven't heard that she got raped, because as soon as she opens her mouth, you're already making it about you. Why the fuck are you in the living room crying? Why don't you man up? Stop your fucking sniveling and speak up. And when she starts speaking up, you start being an asshole. Now, is this a scenario that you see yourself in? No. No, you don't see yourself doing that. But that's what every single person does to me. Oh, well, it won't do any good to turn it in. Yes, it does do some good to turn it in. Oh, Sean, we need to get you into housing. How about we pay attention to the number of times that I had to go through literally years of jumping through hoops so that I could get housing? Because magically, once I'm in housing, I can turn in my predators? No, I'm still disabled, asshole. My disability isn't autism. My disability is your retarded fucking assumptions. I don't need you to shove me to fucking Eugene where I'm told, oh, we can't do anything about Tillamook or the fucking Dalles or goddamn Hood River because you're in a different jurisdiction. When you say you can't do anything because you can't even afford rent, bullshit! You can speak up about the fact that you work like and you still can't afford rent. That is abso-fucking-lutely something you can do. When you want to push housing like a crackhead. In Chapel, Nebraska, I got housing twice. Once before Natalie was killed. You know how many years I tried to get housing? Since I turned 18, I've been trying to get housing. When did I finally get housing? I was almost 37. I was 36 years old before Brenda Dickinson got off of her stupid druggy ass and actually helped. Men don't get shit unless something with tits cares. If I was to convince one of these girls that you got a crush on to have sex with you, would that be enough for you to help me? You show how much you care every time you change the subject. Natalie Bollinger and her friends made my life a living hell for over a year before she was killed. I was injured and could not take care of myself. Natalie and Maddie and Alicia all knew I could not take care of myself. They all knew that I was injured. They all knew this, but they wanted to push me to go to work. And I went to work and I injured myself further. And instead of trying to understand that I was in a severe amount of fucking pain, they treated me completely like shit for having a mental fucking breakdown while having a medical fucking emergency. Meanwhile, you don't look at that evidence. You make everything into an argument about what you want to do, what help you assume I need based on you talking over me every fucking time. Every time. And that talking over me is the reason you don't know shit. It's the reason nobody knows shit about what's going on. I'm sorry, I got sympathy for you. No, you don't. You keep derailing the fucking train. Yes, we can do what you want to do if you're actually fucking helping. But if the only thing that you're willing to do is to force me to do things that are not fucking useful and make zero effort to help how I need or to understand how I need, because you're going to continually talk over me, make it about you, make it about all of your stuff and how busy you are. It's condescending as fuck, dude. When you say I can plug myself in, are you going to look at it? Are you going to be there if I'm harassed? No, you're not. You have any idea how many times I've been harassed by police for doing shit that I was told was okay? Too many to fucking count, dude. And that's one of the things I've been trying to show. I do what I'm fucking told, and I'm punished for it. So instead of telling me to do what you want me to do, and redirecting it so that we only do what you want, while you are ignorant of my situation because you're too busy talking about you, like everyone else. Natalie Bollinger came into my life when she was about 13 and she was selling drugs for her dad, and I tried to run her and her sister off. Yeah, I can stare back, assholes. Fucking A. Anyway, I tried to run her off because having them little kids hanging out with them fucking hobos makes us all look bad. And then people jump to the conclusion that we're all fucking druggies and fucking rapists and child molesters. So yeah, we got good reason for running off the fucking kids. They make our lives fucking suck. Unless you're one of the guys that they have a crush on. Then they basically make his life suck. Or he's some fucking perv who will have sex with underage kids. That's disgusting. Anyway, Natalie and Alicia Bollinger, when they were about 14, were selling drugs for their dad. Their dad was abusing them, so they tried camping out outside. They idolized homelessness. Unfortunately, each one of them was in a sleeping bag with a perverted older man. One of them named Emery and one of them named Arturo. I told those two girls they needed to go home and not come back. And I told those two men they needed to go and not come back. You don't do that shit. Natalie and Alicia Bollinger both admitted that I tried running them off, and they both admitted that I protected them. I protected everyone down there. But nobody protected me. I didn't need protected because I was honest and righteous and forthright. People didn't have a reason to fuck with me. I wasn't stealing their drugs. I wasn't stealing their homes. I wasn't stealing their gear. And when they needed help, I helped them immediately because I fucking could. I didn't, oh, pity party, oh, poor me, poor me. I can't help anybody because I'm a fucking poor, defenseless little bitch. Which is what every one of these fucking cunts did. Shea Burton, after being a fucking piece of shit to so many fucking people, wanted to play the oh, poor me thing. Fuck Shea Burton, she's a piece of shit. Anyway, Chris, years later, Natalie and Alicia came into my life. I didn't know how old they were, and they both told me to hit them up on Facebook. I sent each one of them one message. That's it. And then I forgot they existed because I had other shit going on in my life. Got my back injured trying to help people out. People who ended up fucking me over in the long run. The least they could have done is speak up about the fact that I paid them for help. Some of them did show up and help, and they did get paid. But those people never did speak up. They didn't care about how those things that happened to me, about how I needed that help, because people who are supposedly my friends took advantage of me. But when you're a male, it doesn't matter that you're disabled. You deserve to be abused. It's your fault that you are being abused, because you're a male. Meanwhile, I hear stories out of you, Chris, and out of all the other junkies in this town. Whether or not you're a junkie now is of no consequence to me. What matters to me is that I'm not getting the help I need because instead of listening to me to understand, I'm being taken advantage of. These people aren't listening to understand and to help me. They're listening to take advantage of me. When Natalie came back into my life, I was going to commit suicide over how my friends and family were treating me. When I came to them about the abuse by the Boulder Police Department, very specific officers, and also abuse by other homeless people. Nobody fucking cared, and I couldn't defend myself against these people. That's when Natalie came into my life. I was going to commit suicide over homeless people stealing my shit and cops stealing my shit and not being allowed to fucking sleep because I couldn't travel a block. I was too injured to travel a block, and instead of my friends helping me, instead of them trying to understand, to this day, not one of them has tried to understand my back injuries. Not one of them has tried to understand that I can't take care of myself. They all want to argue just like you, Chris. Shoving me into a foster home. Yeah, great idea. But I still have to have a friend or family member to help me turn it in. I need somebody who's going to go, you know what? I don't care that it's across jurisdictional lines. These crimes were committed, and Sean did have to spend all of his money jumping through these hoops without any of our support. All of you tell me these horror stories about the cops here. That makes me paranoid of the cops. Plus, my experiences with the cops makes me paranoid too. But you know what? I saved the evidence of it, which means that my words mean more than yours, and that my evidence helps to show an established pattern by these officers and by these fucking facilities that they are, in fact and indeed, fleecing the entire country for services that they are required by law to provide and are not, because victims are forced to go in alone. Victims who are easily discredited by the term mentally ill. Police officers, when you have to turn them in, you will be sent illegally to literally the officer that you're trying to turn it into, or they will play fucking retarded. My predators have individual names. Let me show you. All right, this is all evidence. All electronic shit that I had to fucking buy so that I could try to show the harm against me, and having to do it long distance. It is so easy, Chris, to sit down and show you evidence in the back of my vehicle. You have shown zero effort to look at it. You've made every effort to argue against looking at it. Doing what everybody else does, trying to pawn me off on someone else, somewhere else, with no regards to the resources it's going to cost to do that. With no regards for the fact that every time I have to do this, I have to start over at ground zero. With no regards for the fact that any of the people who are recorded on my channel during these situations could have come forward immediately instead of being selfish pieces of shit. Every single person who I have gone to for help has done exactly what you do. Some of them are very mean about it, and some of them are nice like you are. But a sandwich, a slice of pizza, thank you for washing my laundry. That is kind of you. That is nice of you. But that doesn't make you a good person. In order to stop long-term, ongoing abuse, the victim has to be able to turn in that abuse. And that's the one thing that literally nobody will focus on. Let's focus on getting the goddamn evidence where it needs to fucking go. Not making everything into a fucking argument, and you're gonna spend 6 fucking months investigating or researching shit. You're not looking at any fucking evidence. How do you know what you even need to look up? Fucking Christ. When you tell me stories to try to deter me from turning this shit in, you're not being fucking helpful. When I explain to you at least 100 times that I record every goddamn thing, I just need a place to process it. And I am still having to repeatedly repeat myself about recording everything. And then, of course, there's a bunch of stuff people don't want recorded. Well, I don't give a shit if you want it recorded. I'm stuck in fucking public. When you use poverty as an excuse why you can't use your mouth or your ears, I don't need to hear your fucking retarded bullshit. Your retarded assumptions out of any of you. I need you to look at fucking evidence and help me to fucking turn it in. It needs to go to Adult Protective Services. You can literally sit with me. If you're going to take a day off, instead of taking a day off to try to get me shoved into Eugene, take a day off to familiarize yourself with the number of threats against my fucking life and why I have had to endure those. Instead of arguing the legality of it, look at the number of times I have been harmed because people pretended I might do those things. Look at the discrepancies in the law about how all these people getting arrested and put in prison, including police officers, for things that police officers tell you are not against the law. And then you're going to fucking use that as an excuse to not do jack shit. Oh, well, the cop said this, the cop said that. Which ones? Fucking come forward about it. If I say it, it's hearsay. If you say it, then it gets heard. Don't make the victim go in alone. The police do a lot of dirty tricks, like trying to separate the victim, their victim, from the person who keeps them safe. Well, where are any of you? You're all busy trying to shove me off on someone else. I tell you that TFCC committed felonies against me, and you want to keep on pushing me to TFCC. Shut up! Listen! All right, we got some asshole calling himself Rick Sanchez typing troll shit on here. What do? Take a screenshot. And then, of course, hide user on this channel. Boom! You see how easy that is to do? I can't do that in real life, Chris. Natalie Bollinger wanted me to go to Virginia, or she wasn't getting on the plane. I was injured and couldn't take care of myself because of back injuries. Now, instead of understanding how my back injuries affect me, instead of understanding that, people want to make it about their problems. Oh, I understand. I hurt my back in 1967. I'm going to tell you, worst 6 years of my life, and all that 6 years, I was doing this and I was doing that. And let me tell you about my wife and my kids and all that. And you know what I learned? 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 I don't care what you learned. I don't care about shit that happened in 1967 when I was assaulted yesterday and I'm trying to turn in that assault. I don't care about your bullshit from 1967. That never helps the victim. Ever. How many hundreds of people wanted to push me off and pawn me off on somebody else? Pawn me off on mental health. No, I need you to fucking speak up. All of the shit that Chris tells me, he needs to tell the public. He needs to tell the police. He needs to tell Adult Protective fucking Services. He does not need to tell me. His personal experiences being used as excuses not to try to turn it in to where it needs to go. No, he's using his personal experiences in a negative way as excuses to do nothing. And of course, it's only the help that he wants to provide, which is to pawn me off on someone else, somewhere else. To do nothing about the ongoing abuse. To do nothing about turning in any of the abuse. To do nothing to stop any of the ongoing abuse. He's doing nothing to stop it, nothing to deter it. When I went to Virginia, I was invited. And there was more than one person that I went to see. And I've got many of those fucking witnesses recorded on my YouTube channel. Why are they recorded on my YouTube channel? They're recorded on my YouTube channel because just like you, they wanted to talk shit to the peanut gallery, talk about getting violent and fucking shooting people, and make fucking jokes, and then say, oh, this is just how I cope. Well, fuck your coping. It's fucking bullshit. It's condescending and it's harmful to the victim. When I'm told it doesn't matter what was done to me, it matters what people think, how they feel. But how I feel doesn't matter, does it? You assign emotions to me. You tell me how I feel. You tell me how I think, because you're a fucking idiot. How I think is miles away from your fucked up violent bullshit. You're condescending. Get a job and go to work. Then you admit that no matter how hard you work, you're still fucked. You can't afford rent. Why the fuck are you shoving that on me then? If you can't even do it. I ask you kindly, please, stop talking about hurting people. Stop making that fucking suggestion. If I repeat your suggestion, my predators get to pretend like I'm threatening their life, asshole. You are exercising a right that I don't fucking have. You have the right to threaten to kill people. All of you have the right to threaten to kill me. Yeah, it's against the law, but nobody's gonna fucking stop you. Not one of you pieces of shit takes the threats against my life fucking seriously, or against my friends and family's lives. You all look the other way and tell me how to think and how to feel and talk about yourselves. Instead of helping how I need, you want to argue with me as if I am some fucking retard. Then you want to tell me how intelligent I am as a fucking insult. You're ignoring my intelligence by talking over me like I'm retarded. And then you tell me how intelligent I am. How about you stop talking over me like I'm retarded? And start telling these places how intelligent I am. Why don't you make those calls with me and record them for our safety? I record everything because people rip me off all the fucking time. Do you bother to look at any of those videos? No, you don't. You're going to postpone it for another 6 months. You're only willing to help how you assume I need help. How about stop assuming and interrupting me with your fucking assumptions and actually listen? Someone calling himself Matthew Smith typed, hello, Sean. Hello, Matthew Smith. Are you here to troll me or are you here to help? Did you find me at random or did you look at this channel because of a Natalie Bollinger site? The police and the Bollingers utilized the media to have me harmed, to have me targeted, to have me pegged as a violent schizophrenic. They had to commit a lot of fucking felonies to try to do that. And then they realized they fucked up big when it wasn't me who killed her. It was never going to be me who killed her. She played victim to make her fucking dealers happy. That includes her fucking dad. Matthew Smith typed, Ted showed me this channel. Let me guess, Ted Bollinger? Speak up. Ah, message retracted. What a little bitch. Guess what's happening, Matthew Smith? I'd use her on this channel. You see how fucking easy it was to get rid of Matthew Smith? Real fucking easy. You see how quick it is to fucking pull out the trolls and get the fuck rid of them? But I can't do that in real life. I'm in a constant state of panic because I can't get anyone to fucking listen or look at evidence. If I have to tell you something over 100 times, if I have to tell you about my disabilities over 100 times and you still haven't heard me, then you're not fucking listening. Nobody listens. If you're in the same room as me while I'm talking, that doesn't mean that you're listening. If you're sitting there texting on your phone like many of these mental health workers were, while they were supposed to be helping me, then you're not listening, you're busy texting. If you're busy talking over me and trying to push housing over an hour the other night, you wanted to talk about that housing thing in Eugene. You would not come off it. Today you come talk to me about that housing thing in Eugene. Still won't come off it, still won't hear what help I actually need. I need someone to look at the evidence and help me to turn it in so that I'm not treated like I'm a fucking schizophrenic, which is what happens when I go in alone. Don't make me go to these places alone. Don't make calls for me, make them with me so that I can fucking record it and have evidence that it happened. Instead of having to just take your word for it when you've already shown that you're never going to come forward. You're just going to make excuses. I tell you what help I need. I need somebody to listen to me, not interrupt me repeatedly. I need somebody to look at the evidence. I need them to look so they understand what I've been through. Instead of their assumptions, I need them to look at the fucking evidence. Instead of blowing me off, I need them to look at the fucking evidence. It's a lot easier to do that if we can go to the library and set up that fucking 3 hours, and I'll show you as much as I can in that 3 hour fucking period. But other than that, I go to the library and I waste my fucking time going. I need help carrying my stuff. You don't stop to think about what that costs. Stop to consider my disabilities at any point. I tell you about my disabilities. You do ask a couple questions about my disabilities, and then almost immediately, the very next sentence, you forget about my disabilities and start pushing the get a job thing. Can you do this? Can you do that? How about we focus on what I need to do to stop the abuse? It's ongoing abuse. It's ongoing abuse because of slander. So something needs to be done about the abuse and why it's happening. When you ignore the crimes committed against me and you ignore the motives of these people, you are doing everything that you can to ignore the victim. Do not ignore the victim. Don't shove sandwiches down our throat and pretend that's fucking help. No, it is dismissive as fuck. But I have to accept it. Because if I don't accept the help, then I'm turning help down. If I can't afford that fucking help, then it means I'm turning that help down. And that's the way even you will grossly reinterpret it when I speak up. Are you going to speak up about how many times I have come to you for help? Ever? How many times have you ever tried looking at the evidence and turning it in? Never. You've always made excuses. Every time. Don't tell me any of your fucking stories. I don't want to hear them. If you're not trying to do something to change it, there's no fucking reason to tell me your fucking story. If you want help changing it, you need to understand that you're not the only person in existence. There are many of us going through the same shit, and instead of bitching at the peanut gallery, work together with the rest of us and turn it into the right fucking place. You won't know which right place to turn it into if you don't even know what crimes fucking happened. You want to know everything about it. No, you don't. Or you would listen to me, you would look at evidence, you would make the time, instead of making time to talk over me like everyone else, to tell me how to think and tell me how to feel, and assign emotions to me that I don't even fucking have. God bless America, right? Chris, before any of the stuff that you want to do is going to make any fucking difference, you have to listen to understand. When I tell you about the issues with housing, you need to take them to heart. When I tell you about the fact that I'm supposed to have a review, you don't focus on that. You ignore that. You ignore the fact that they broke the law repeatedly. And you want to focus just on the 2 years that I have to have of unbroken rental history. Well, fucking duh. Meanwhile, I wouldn't have to do that if I had a friend or fucking family member who would fucking listen instead of argue like a retard. If you can make the time to argue, you can make the time to listen. If you can make the time to talk about you, you can find out why your so-called friend is fucking suicidal. Chances are pretty good that your friend is suicidal because you won't shut the fuck up, you selfish prick. I can't tell you how the things that you are doing are hurtful and harmful because you're going to get defensive and play victim. So I have to stream on fucking YouTube about how fucking useless and harmful you are because you never speak up. Meanwhile, it's obvious you're desperate for a real friend because you won't stop talking about you. Well, I'm desperate for a real friend too, but I need a real friend who will actually listen with the intent of helping stop this abuse. And you don't stop ongoing abuse by pretending it's not happening. You don't stop ongoing abuse by projecting people into some realm of artificial reality that is only in your head. How about instead of assuming, you take a look at actual evidence? How about instead of believing me, you look at evidence so that you know for a fact, and that way you can speak out instead of playing retarded. When I was in Virginia in 2016, almost everybody that I went there to see, I couldn't see because I was broke. All of the support network that I had set up for when I went all fell apart as soon as I got there. And there were a lot of people involved. And those people need to be fucking subpoenaed, and they need to speak up. And because these crimes were committed across multiple jurisdictions, multiple states, from coast to coast, it is federal. And yes, you do need to fucking speak up about what you know about the officers in this town, instead of trying to send me somewhere else. I'm frustrated because no matter what, you're just going to talk over me and make it about what you want. You want me to go to the housing. Fine, I'll go to the housing. Fine, I've filled out housing paperwork over and over again. But that doesn't stop abuse. Turning in the abusers right away is what stops abuse. If you help them to get away by blowing me off for 6 months pushing housing, they get to harm me repeatedly, asshole. So knock off your stupid bullshit.